A couple spent $2,000 to buy a countryside cottage. They came over to check out the place and see how the house looked. If they liked it, they could start planning a full renovation. So, what do you guys think of this place? They opened the gate and, at first, expected the yard to be totally overgrown after sitting empty for so many years. But surprisingly, it wasn't as bad as they imagined. There weren't too many weeds, though the yard did look a bit worn down. The walls were covered in moss, and years of rain had chipped the paint and plaster. Inside, the house was full of junk, but there was actually a lot of furniture that just needed a good cleaning. It was solid wood that would last for years. Out in the yard, a few grapefruit trees were still standing. Someday, they could just pick fresh grapefruits right from their own garden, which added a nice charm to the place. After walking through the entire property, checking both the yard and the house layout, they decided they were going to turn this cottage into something beautiful. They immediately spent $500 to hire some workers to clean up the weeds in front and behind the house. Since the yard wasn't too overgrown, the workers didn't charge much. They started by clearing the weeds along the base of the exterior walls and gave the yard a good sweep. Then they moved to the gate, pulling down the climbing ivy and clearing out the few remaining weeds with hose, bundling everything into tarps to haul it away. Today's work was pretty light. The workers hummed tunes while cleaning the yard. One even brought a ladder to trim the weeds growing on the roof. After this first cleanup, the yard looked refreshed, even though the cottage still had some wear. With a bit more love, the couple could easily make it a charming countryside home. They had lived in the city for years, but after a business failure, they decided to move to the country, buy a cottage with some land, and grow their own food for self-sufficiency, a dream they had longed for. Once their debts were cleared, they managed to snag this property for a great price. Every corner of the yard had its own charm. In front of the main house, a stone railing had been built, giving it a nice touch while separating the front area from the garden space. On the other side of the main house, there was a big pile of old weeds and brush left by locals who used the vacant property as a dumping spot. It took some effort, but the workers cleared it all, carrying it off in tarps. Stuff like this sitting around for years can get moldy fast. Clearly, a good house always needs regular care and maintenance to stay livable. Even after 5 or 6 years of neglect, this place was still salvageable. If it had been abandoned any longer, it might have been uninhabitable. As the yard slowly cleared, the couple started to fall in love with the place. There was enough space for planting, and the surrounding sheds could be cleaned up to store tools or supplies. Take a look with the camera and see if you think this $2,000 cottage was worth it.